In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Sunday night. You know what that means? It's Bible study night. As always, we're in Great Book of Joshua. Very interesting. Chapter 10, verse 41. That's where we are. That's where we left off. That's where we're going to pick up. And it's going to be fantastic, as the stories have been thus far. It has been one interesting diatribe from start to finish. Seems like it gets better and better and better. But it's not just a story. It's history. It actually happened that way. It's recorded. You can check it with history. And you can find everything that's in it in history. Now, there are some people that will tell you that the dates don't match up. Well, there's a reason for that. If you go back to the 60s, you'll find out that they changed the dating system from AD and BC to BCE. AD and BC means Anno Domini, which means after death, and BC means before Christ. That's the stick by which you measure. BCE stands before Common Era. That is a scientific code word for not God. Remember that. And remember that I told you, because every time you hear it from now until the end of time, you will know something that very few people know, and that is it's all a hoax. Everything is nonsense. It's all made up, all of it. How do I know that? Well, look around. Look at what you're being taught in schools. Look at what you're being taught in books and in TV shows and in, comic books, and anywhere you look. There's this overarching theme, not God. Wonder why? If God doesn't exist, if this is all people like mine's imaginations, if the world has been duped by a story from some cavemen that wrote on parchment paper with chicken bones, why is the entirety of the scientific establishment trying so hard to remedy that idea inert? Ask yourself why. Not just with the God thing, with anything. Ask yourself why. Why would they do that? Why would they try so hard to remove something that isn't real, that poses no actual threat? I think you'll come to a conclusion similar to the one I came to. They know full well that it's an actual threat, because they know full well that they can't explain this place that we find ourselves in, nor can anyone else for that matter. And if that's true, that there is an explanation that we just can't seem to put our finger on it, that explanation would most likely be God. Now, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. That's between you and God. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here to save you or trick you or convince you of anything. I'm here to delve into the book that was left for 4,500 years and somehow is still intact, and examine its meaning and see if there can be any depth drawn from it, any purpose for why all of this is here. And so far, I've found every answer I went looking for. Now, you can look at that however you like. I'm going to biggen this screen a little bit. Pardon me while I stretch a little. something's happened to my camera, and for some reason, it's the wrong size. And I've got to figure out why. All right, that'll do for now. It's not perfect, but we'll get through today. Hey, Lisa Reen, welcome to the show. Good to see you. I'm glad you could drop by. Oh, what a day it is. Look outside through my 2A flag. Look how pretty today is. Look how much green is out there. There's plastic on the windows, by the way. That's why it looks foggy. But it's out there, look. Amongst all the clutter that's on my desk. That's a desk, by the way. It's not a pile of trash. There's just a bunch of stuff on it. I have too many journals and notebooks and things to occupy my time so that I can stand here and talk or sit here and talk. How are you doing? How are things? How's your world treating you? You seem to be one of only 2 people here. We need 4 to get started, so pile in, people. I've been having some pretty good podcasts, by the way. I had a great podcast on rumble.com/UntetheredLive on Friday night. A lot of people showed up. It was quite good. 177 people have watched that video. For a guy that just started on on Rumble, that's not bad. Great. It's a gorgeous day. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No rain in sight. It'll be raining tomorrow. Watch and see. Write it down that I said so. Or at least it'll be raining here tomorrow. I don't know about there. I don't even know where there is. I'm just nebulously pointing into the universe. You know what? I just remembered I could do something. And I'm going to do it. Hang on. Pardon me for messing with my camera here. That's the wrong button. Hang on. Nope. 1 of 3. Nope. Where'd you go? Oh, well. Why can't I? There. Nope, that's not it either. I guess I can't do that. That's not it. My keyboard is not acting right. I think I have a glitch somewhere. Anyway. It's rained every day or night since this last week. But I like the rain, and the sun comes in between the showers. Well, that's good. It hasn't rained here all week. It rained at the beginning of the week, like Monday. But all week so far it hasn't rained. So I'm kind of glad of that. But it'll be raining tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. The old shoulder doesn't ever lie. I don't know what's going on with my camera. I can't seem to angle it. There's a way that you can crop it by pressing a button, one of these 3 buttons, and neither one of them is functioning, so I don't know what to do about that. A dog named Boo, what's up, buddy? It's pouring here tonight in Ohio. Only rain in 3 weeks. I hear you. Fab Daddy, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Now the people are showing up. Excellent. Hope you are all well. I hope you're well, too, a dog named Boo. I appreciate you. Fab Daddy, you doing all right? How's the weather where you're at? It's nice to have people all over the world. Caucasian Sasquatch, what's up, buddy? I'm out at Pop's. Hey, Pop. Good to see you. If he indeed is watching. They're all asleep. Oh, well. I'll tell him I said hello. Fab Daddy bless you, says a dog named Boo. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, before I got sidetracked, the show on Rumble was real good Friday night. And I hope that you all join us on Friday nights there, as that's going to be a regular thing, I think. I was waiting on one thing. They had a problem. The chat didn't work. I don't know what they did to it. I don't know how they fixed it, but they fixed it because Friday it worked. So that's all good. And also, it's a little confusing about the notifications over there. It doesn't exactly work the same on the phone app as it does the website. So if you're using a phone, I don't know what to tell you about notifications. You just have to hunt around until you find the little bell icon. It's in there somewhere. And it works just like the YouTube one. You click the bell icon and then click all, and then you'll get a notification of when I'm online. On the website, it's right beside the unfollow button. Same as the subscribe button. Training my moose how to ride in a vehicle without being a problem. Carry lots of treats. It's a big dog. That's all I can tell you. Remind me on YouTube Friday. I will. I won't be on YouTube Friday, but Thursday I'll leave a reminder in the community chat. Good evening, Sasquatch. Sasquatch says, Fab Daddy. It's a rather ominous Sunday. Ready for some Joshua tonight. Ready to see how the battle goes. And trust me, go it will. He's getting it, says Caucasian. He didn't try to bum rush out today. That's a big dog. Carry lots of treats. And possibly a whip. I've got a pregnant cat. I'm about to have more kitties. I just had a litter of kitties come up to the steps, and now I got more coming. I don't know how many she'll have, but that's definitely going to bring the number up to double digits. Did you get your tire over the weekend? Not yet. I haven't made enough money to get it yet. Working on it. I got lots of funds going out and very few funds coming in, if you know what I mean. But I'm getting there. Sometime this week I'll have it. Unfortunately, this is the week where all my bills are due, so I kind of got to make sure everything else gets paid too, so I'm going to have to juggle around and get everything done. But make stupid people famous. What's up? I hadn't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. We are just about to get started. We're going to go to about 8:16, 8:20, somewhere around there. And then we'll get started. Just make sure everybody can pile in before we go. Anybody see Kevin and April tonight? They're usually here first. Lisa Reen wins the gold star tonight. She was here waiting on us. Caught you live, brother. Which one? The one on Rumble? Good. Or are you talking about tonight? I'm assuming you mean tonight. Because that wouldn't make sense otherwise, because you didn't say anything to me Friday night. Lisa says, I am house sitting, so I have internet. Woohoo! Hey, that's excellent. That means you'll be here the whole show and you won't cut in and out. That's great. You'll really get to see what I do. Which ain't much. Ain't much at all. Make stupid people famous. Have you had a good week? How's the weather where you're at? Same here, Lisa. House dog and grandma sitting, says stupid people. I don't have any dogs or grandmas to babysit. It would be nice. I miss those days. I had them. I just don't have them currently. Parents either. Those were the days. Long time ago. Lots of gray hair ago. Make stupid people famous says, beautiful mountain weather, high 80s, low 60s, light rain now, and 71. That's beautiful. It's not raining here, but it will be by tomorrow, I can tell. So it must be moving this way. That's what I'm thinking. Moving this way. All right. We've gone long enough. Might as well get started, shall we? Pardon me. If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to the great book of Joshua, chapter 10, verse 41, I think it is. I'll tell you in a minute. And let's go down. Yep, 10:41. And it reads, and Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea. I can talk, I'm not having a stroke. And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea, even to Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even unto Gibeon. And all these kings and their land did Joshua take at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel, as he did. He said he would, and he kept his word. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp at Gilgal. And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard of those things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of some Klingon word, Ashkap. Ashaf. You pronounce it. How about that? And to the kings that were on the north of the mountains, and of the plains south of Chinnereth, and in the valley, and in the borders of Dor on the west, and to the Canaanite on the east and on the west, and to the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the mountains. These are all mountain folks. Now, remember I told you before, the whole reason for coming into Canaan and removing these people is because a large portion of them are not human beings. What do I mean by that? Well, they are offspring of Anak. Anak is the guy I mentioned a few books back, and he had lots of sons, and he is one of 9 tribes of Nephilim. And these people are the offspring of those Nephilim. The word Nephilim comes from the Hebrew word Napha, which means the fallen. That would be the angels that came to Mount Hermon and mated with women back in previous books. Now, these people have DNA that don't belong on this planet. This place was not built for them. They were never intended to be here. God didn't place them here. This is a function of them leaving their habitation and going where they shouldn't be. This is part of the war that's going on in heaven currently as we speak. And these people are offspring of those people. They're not those people, but they're from those people. So God has made it clear they should be wiped off the face of the earth. And that includes the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and about 4 other groups. And the Hivites under Hermon in the land of Mizpah. That right there, that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And so there's 7, 8, 9 of them. So there's 3 other groups that are going to be taken out. And one of them, God says to kill everything. Man, woman, child, animal, and then burn everything. Don't take any gold. Don't take any spoils. Burn it all. I wonder why he did that. because those people had crossed a double line. Not only were they offspring of the Nephilim, but they were also engaged in Baal worship, sacrificing to Moloch and that sort of thing. That means passing children through fire. That's basically biochemically the same thing we do today with Planned Parenthood. It's the same result. Sacrifice the child for the sake of the parent. And we've been doing a lot of that these days. And that's the action that God took on those people, a small group in Canaan who were doing that. Imagine what he'll do to this group in this country, which is 20 times the size of Canaan. Just think about that. All right. Make stupid people famous. Nephilim are the fallen ones. Rephaim, which are from the Hebrew word Rapha, which means the dead ones or the walking dead. And Anukim is just a plural word for sons of Anak, which is one of the Nephilim. Anak, the same word we get the word Anunnaki from, which is a Sumerian word. Think about that. So there you go for those guys. Those are not the same beings, but they are the same thing. They are fallen angels. They occupy different offices. I don't know how that breaks up. Could be archangels and cherubim. I don't know. That is not clear. There's no word in the scripture that tells me which group of people go where. Just that it does tell me what they are and why God wants them all killed. Now, modern society will tell you that God's a vindictive God. He's a tyrant. He's mean. He's vengeful. No. This is his sandbox. He built it. His toys go in it. You understand? If he wants to break his toys, that's his business. They belong to him. That's not vindictiveness. That's not murder or tyranny. It's God doing with his creation what he desires to do with it. That's the difference between authority and civilians like us. Anyway, verse 14. Sorry, verse 11, 4. And they went out, they and all their hosts with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude. There were thousands of them, millions of them, with horses and chariots, very many. They have stressed how many, twice for emphasis, a lot of them. This is 9 groups of people and all of their armies coming against the Israelites, which is probably about 6 million strong, I would guess. Somewhere in that area. It's a big army, but not by comparison of the army that's coming at them. By comparison, they're a small little ragtag group of folks. But they got something that these other people don't have, and that's the force of God on their side. And when all the kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver them up, all slain before Israel. Thou shalt hoe their horses and burn their chariots with fire. What is that? That is Old English for slaughter the horses and burn the chariots. ATL, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Book of Angels is a good read. Yes, I'm sure it is, but I can't verify the validity of it. I can verify the validity of this book, which is why I teach from this one. Another good read is the book of Enoch. Another good read is the book of Jasher. Another good read is the book of Adam and Eve. But I can't verify the authenticity of any of them, which is why they're not in the Bible. The Bible can be traced back to Antioch from its inception, from the original texts, which were then can be traced back to Moses. So that's why I teach from this one. Why the King James? Because it's the closest English translation that exists. There are some mistakes. There are some vague changes, but I'm smart enough to pick them up when I see them, and I make those corrections as we go. Thus, it is the most precise, inspired word of God that exists today. Ignorance is not a sin, thank God for that. So, if I'm missing something, it ain't my fault. I'm doing the work. So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom, suddenly, and they fell upon them. I mean, they just piled in there like football players on a tackle. They didn't stand a chance. Got them. You keep losing your connection from the rain, you guessing? Well, we don't want that to happen. Say a prayer and move to a different spot. There are targums that are more corrections. I don't know what you mean by that. Have you ever read The Seven Daughters of Eve? No, sir, I have not. Never even heard of it. Chapter 11, verse 8. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them and chased them unto the great Zidon, and unto Mizreth. Y'all going to kill me with these words. Mizrephathaim. I did it. Close. Mizrephathaim. There's an M in there. Mizrephathaim. That place over to the west. And unto the valley of Mizpah eastward. And they smote them until they left them none remaining. They killed every last one of them. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord bade him. He hoed their horses, and he burnt their chariots with fire. He slaughtered all the horses and burned all the chariots. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor beforetime was the head of all those kingdoms. Hazor is the capital of this area. 9 kingdoms. Hazor is the capital. So he has, in effect, he has beheaded the war machine. They're all scattered now because they don't have leadership, which is a good thing. That makes the war easier to win. And they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe. And he burnt Hazor with fire, burn it to the ground. There's a city that no longer exists. And all the cities of those kings and all the kings of them did Joshua take and smote them with the edge of the sword, and he utterly destroyed them as Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded. Why did he command that? Because they were not human beings. And the ones that were human beings were utterly consumed by the rhetoric of these people. They were utterly bought in to the big lie, just like kind of like the ones that are happening today. The different groups of people that are following the science, they're bought in. They're dug in like ticks. They're not coming out. They have lost. Make sure you're not one of them. Oh, do they? Well, send them to me and I'll check them out. But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them, save Hazor only, that did Joshua burn. Now, this is a very important scripture here, 13:11, because it says something that you never hear in public. When people talk about the vengeful, vindictive, hateful God, they never talk about the mercy he shows. Now, Joshua is in effect the general of God's army. So he answers to God, just like Moses did. God speaks to him directly, and he does what God tells him to do. So the fact that he did this is a direct line to the fact that God told him to do it. So what did he do? Every city that did not take up arms against Israel, that stood in their place, that stood still, that stood down, he didn't touch any of them. He didn't kill anybody there. He didn't burn any of them down. He didn't loot any of them. He left them alone because they're not part of the problem. That's mercy. The Nazis didn't even do that when they were taken over. They took everybody. And Joshua would have been within his right to take everybody, because that's his job, is to rid Canaan of the filth. Canaan being that little strip of land on that side of the Jordan River where all of the Israelites have been promised land according to the size of their family, except for the Levites, which get to live anywhere because they're priests. But they don't get a plot of land. And so he showed mercy, which is an important thing. Aramaic is a nice language to know. I hear you, brother. I know a few people that know Aramaic. You're speaking to one of them. I don't have copies. I do online reading. They're all on YouTube. Well, forgive me for not using YouTube as a source. Zen Garcia, I've watched some of his videos. In Hebrew Hawaiian, can lead you to some amazing scriptures brought forth in these days. Zen owns Sacred Word Publishing. Well, how about this? Make stupid people famous. This is Untethered Live, and I'm teaching from the King James Bible. So if you're going to be here, how about stick to what I'm teaching? And let's talk about other people in the comment section of this video and not in the teaching section, because you're distracting me from what I'm doing. So if you would, snap to it. You're fine, brother. I'm meek. I live off the land. So do I, in a manner of speaking. Not by choice. That's just the way it is. And the Lord, I read that. You see, you made me lose my place. I got to find where I was at. Oh, I found it. Okay. And all the spoil of these cities and the cattle and the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. That's the ones that they burned down, not the ones that were standing down. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them. Neither left they any debris. They killed everybody in those big cities. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so did Moses command Joshua, and so did Joshua. He did what Moses told him to do, which was doing what God told him to do. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. That's what a good general does. So Joshua took all that land, the hills and the south country, and the land of Goshen, and the valley and the plains, and the mountain of Israel, which would later become Jerusalem, or near Jerusalem. I believe they would call that place Zion at some point. And the valley of the same, even from the Mount Halak that goeth up to Seir, even unto Baalgad. Baalgad, there's a word for you. That's the land of the Lord, not the Lord, lowercase Lord. In the valley of Lebanon under Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon, we've talked about Mount Hermon. That's where the angels came down at. So now you know, the land of the Lord is where Mount Hermon is close to, which is where the angels came from. And I do mean lowercase Lord, not the Lord, Lord in the human sense. And all their kings he took and smote them and slew them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. Remember, we already talked about them. Those are the ones that came to the camp dressed as ambassadors bringing moldy bread, and all their clothes were old and they looked like they had been traveling for decades because they wanted to trick their way into the camp so they didn't get killed. You know, if you can't beat them, join them, that sort of thing. Of course, Joshua saw through it and made them slaves. He didn't kill them, though. He kept his word. All other they took in battle. So we've got a barren land here with a wholly defeated country by a group of nomads who wandered the desert for 40 years. No doubtably getting tougher and tougher by the minute. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle. This is the next time God talks about hardening somebody's heart. The first time, of course, was the Pharaoh of Egypt, where he hardened his heart so that Moses could get done what he had to get done. This time it's so that Joshua could be amplified. And if you go back to the beginning of this book, you'll find that God tells Joshua he will amplify him. This is just one of the ways of doing it. That he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them as the Lord commanded Moses, and he did. And now we're getting back to that group of Anak's children that we talked about earlier. And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims. The IMS at the end of this word just means plural. This is the sons of Anak that we're talking about. This is more than one Anak. He cut them off from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, and from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities. Gone. There goes Anak. Now, if you ask yourself, did all of the Anakim get killed? No, not all of them. Some of them escaped. And how do I know that? Well, they named a city in Samaria after these people. And they named a group of people in that city after these people. And that's where we get those words from that Zechariah Sitchin so famously mistranslated. I'm here to tell you there's no such thing as aliens. They don't exist. There's nothing out there. The whole of the Bible has one line, a short line, to describe everything that's out there. And it is, and the stars he created also, period. That's it. Why? Because it's not important what's out there. There's nothing out there. Everything that's out there is about making this place function. So it's all pointed here. This is where the magic happens. This is where the unique stuff occurs. Nothing out there. So there are no such thing as aliens. They don't exist. There are, however, angels and spirits. Not a lot of them, not like in the movies, but they do exist. Now, this next line will disagree with what I just said, but I'll point out something very important. There were none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. Now, did you catch it? Did you hear it? Did you see what happened there? There was none of the Anakims left, except for 3 cities. They were not in the land of the children of Israel, which is Canaan. They were outside of that. Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. There the Anakims remained. So, does the Bible tell you what happened to the fallen angels? Yes. You just have to see it when you read it. And there it is. Just like in the Bible, when God destroyed the earth with the flood, right? Why did he do that? He did it to kill all of the fallen angels, right? Did any of them survive? Well, not if God killed them all, right? Jesus said that just like in the days of Noah, so again will there be an influx of the fallen angels. That's what he's talking about. So clearly they're not all gone. So where did they go? They didn't stay on the earth because the earth was flooded Everything died, except for who was on the ark. What did God tell Noah, to put on the ark? All things made of flesh, some by 2 and some by 7, clean and unclean. Is an angel or an offspring of an angel unclean? Yes. Is it made of flesh? Yes. Is it in whom the breath of life exists? Yes. So it would have been on the ark, or at least a couple of them, a blue one and a pink one, right? So where did the fallen angels go? They all died, except for the ones that were on the ark with Noah. Why did he take them on the ark? Because God told him to. Why did he do that? Because they're part of the plan. It's just they were getting carried away. They were doing stuff that aren't part of the plan. They were being hubristic. They were being rebellious, which I suppose is the nature of a fallen angel, but nonetheless, God designed all of this to work a certain way. In order for you to have free will, there must be a choice before you. Because if you only have one choice, it's not free will. It's not your choice. You must have the evil option and the good option. If God destroyed all the evil, there would be no evil option. And then you would no longer have free will. You would be a robot then. This is why God allows these things to occur. And you have to be able to see that as an adult. Because as a child, you're like, well, why don't God just destroy all the bad people? And then we won't have all of these problems. Well, these problems, number one, are of our own making, not of God's making. And number two, if you didn't have the choice to not make that choice, you would not be free. This is a hard pill to swallow, but nonetheless, you have to swallow it. So Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Lord said unto Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by their tribes, or how much land they get according to the size of their family. And the land rested from war. There was peace in the valley for a little while. There will never be peace, by the way. They will cry, peace, 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 but there shall be no peace. It's in the Bible. How do I know that? It's in the Bible. Now, but there's peace for a little while. They rest from war. Alien has lie in the middle of an A and an N. Yes, it does. Odd that you should point that out, because that's exactly what it is. The big lie. It is the strong delusion, or one of them. Ever notice that every time the government starts talking about aliens and everybody starts looking over here at the aliens, historically some weird stuff is going on over here that you don't know about at the time, and you find out like 10 years later? Go look back at Roswell if you don't believe me, and think about what they were doing at that time. They being the government who spread that rumor in the first place. Every time the news says that aliens are real, or that we've seen UFOs or anything like that, every time the government is doing something shady and don't want you to see it. Trust me on that. Now, these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote and possessed their land on the other side of Jordan towards the rising sun. That's to the west. The east, sorry. Sun rises in the east, sets in the west. We've been through this before. I can't tell the difference when I'm looking at a camera that's facing back at me backwards. It's over there to the east, right? From the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Aurora, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from the half of Gilead, is halfway through Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is on the border of the children of Ammon. the Ammonites. And from the plain of the sea of Chinneroth unto the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea on the east, by the way of Beth Jeshimoth, that's it, Beth Jeshimoth. And from the south, under Ashdoth Pisgah. That's definitely a Klingon word there. And the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants. Og being a giant himself, king of Bashan. Og is one who Goliath is descended from. He's from that group of angels, or angels' offspring. Goliath and his brother, whom I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. But these were the group of people that had 6 fingers and 6 toes and 2 rows of teeth. It's from the group that Og comes from in Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants that dwelt at Ashtaroth, which is both a place and a god. Don't forget that, lowercase g god. And at Idri, and reigned in Mount Hermon. So they are of the descendants that were most recently coming down from Mount Hermon. And Salca, and in all Bashan, unto the border of the Gershurites, and the Macathites, and half Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Them did Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel smite. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half of the tribe of Manasseh. I guess they took up the half of Gilead. I don't know. Seems reasonable. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side of Jordan River on the west, from Baalgad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto Mount Halak that goeth up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their division, or according to the size of their families, in the mountains, and in the valleys, and in the plains, and in the springs, and in the wilderness, and in the south country, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho won, the king of Ai, which was beside Bethel, won, the king of Jerusalem won, the king of Hebron won, and the king of Jarmuth won, and the king of Lachish won, and the king of Eglon won, and the king of Gezer won, and the king of Debir won, and the king of Geder won, the king of Hormah won, the king of Arad won, the king of Libnah won, the king of Adullam won, the king of Makkedah won, the king of Bethel won, the king of Tappuah won, the king of Hepher won, the king of Aphek won, the king of Lasharon won, the king of Madon won, the king of Hazor won, the king of Shimronimron, Shimronmeron, that's it, Shinronmeron won, the king of Ashaph won, the king of Tanakh won, or Tanis if you're into that, the king of Megiddo won, the king of Kadesh won, the king of Jokneam won, sorry, I got ahead of myself, the king of Jokneam of Carmel won, the king of Dor in the coast of Dor won, the king of the nations of Gilgal won, the king of Tirzah won, all the kings 31. 31 kings they defeated by themselves with nothing but the Ark of the Covenant to lead their army. Think about that. Now, Joshua was old and stricken in years, and the Lord said unto him, Thou art old and stricken in years. And to which he replied, Duh. And there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed. You're not done yet, buddy. Get up. This is the land that yet remaineth. All the borders of the Philistines and all Geshuri from Sihor, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron northward, which is counted to the Canaanite. 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazathites and the Ashtathites and the Eshkalonites and the Gittites and the Ekronites, also the Avites. Those are those little bugs that crawl on plants. I'm pretty sure. From the south, all the land of the Canaanites at Mirah, that is beside the Sidonians, unto Aphek, to the borders of the Amorites. So a good portion of this land still has not been defeated, even though they've killed the main group, the main big cities. They've defeated all them, but there's still the outlands. And the land of the Giblites, and all Lebanon towards the sun rising, from Baalgad under Mount Hermon unto the entering of Hamath. Now, I'm saying a lot of words here, but I want to give you something, so bear with me just a second. I want you to see. Let me think. We're going to go here for a second, and I'm going to put in an image. Let me find it. I'm looking, hang on. I think it's here. Nope, not there. Where did I put it? May take me a minute to locate it. I want to show you a map. There we go. I found it. All right. So here's a map of the area where we are. And if you'll take a look, this is divided by the lands that the different tribes took for their own. Okay. I have another map that I'll show you that shows the path that Joshua took as he battled and where all of the cities are. But you can see some. Here's Megiddo and Hazor up top. Mount Hermon is at the very top, right up here. I don't think you can see my mouse, but it's right up here at the top. That's where the angels came in at. Notice the trajectory of how they spread out. Down at the bottom is where the Moabites are. And remember that when they came into Canaan, they encountered the Moabites. So they would have came from this direction to the left into Canaan, which is the region you're seeing right before you. And let me show you this other map of Joshua's trajectory, if I can find it. Joshua's route. Here we go. Now, this is the same map, only you can see this red line shows the trajectory from Kadesh Barnea onward. Down at the bottom is where they would have came in. See Edom and Moab here? And the Amalekites were the first group they encountered. And you can see now this map is divided among the original people that were there and where they were located. So you see all the names, the Jebusites and the Amorites and the Moabites and the Kenites. This word Kenite here down at the bottom, those are descendants of Cain from Cain and Abel. Not Canaanites, Kenites. You'd think it'd be Canaanite, but Canaan is a different word than Cain. So they changed it to Kenites so that it wouldn't be confusing. and the Girgashites up here at the top, and then Syria is up here at the very edge. So this is the group, and that red line is the group following the path of Joshua as he went up and took out these major cities on these dots. And if you look at the dots, you got Beersheba and Debir and Hebron and Jebus and Shechem and Hazor up here at the top. And we're about to Beth Rehob right there, which is pretty close to the end of that trajectory. So anyway, I just wanted you guys to see that so that you get a kind of an idea of what we're talking about and why we're talking about it. All right, where did my Bible go? There it is. I found it. This is, I read that one. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Mizraphathaim, and all the Sidonians, them will I drive out from before the children of Israel. Only divide thou it by lot unto the Israelites for an inheritance, as I have commanded thee. So, what he's saying is the people that are left in this area, I'll drive them out. You don't even have to fight that fight. Those might be the worst ones. Those might actually be the Nephilim there in that area, because God fights that fight. He says, only when I'm done, divide it up among the children of Israel as part of their inheritance. So just about as far as the eye could see in both directions, no matter where they are in Canaan, that land is going to one of the tribes, one of the 12 tribes, and one of the 11 tribes and a half tribe. Remember that Manasseh, half of the tribe stayed on the other side of the Jordan River, so they've already got their land. Now, therefore, hey, Kevin, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Where's April at tonight? I was beginning to wonder if y'all was going to show up. We're already halfway through. It's good to see you anyway. Now, therefore, divide this land for an inheritance unto the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh, with whom the Reubenites and the Gadites have received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond Jordan eastward. Even as Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them from Aroer, that is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plains of Medeba unto Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, unto the border of the children of Ammon and Gilead, and the border of the Gershurites, and the Maccathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan upon Salcah, and all kingdoms of Og and Bashan, which reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei, who remained of the remnants of the giants. For these did Moses smite and cast them out. That's down near the bottom where we started at. Nevertheless, the children of Israel expelled not the Gershurites, nor the Maccathites, but the Gershurites and the Maccathites dwell among the Israelites to this day. Now, those are groups of people that they pretty much consumed as they went because they didn't kill them all. So they kept them as slaves or kept them as a workforce or part of the army. They conscripted them into the army. These are relatively non-violent peoples who decided to go along with the program rather than be killed. And they were, for whatever reason, consumed by the Israelites. So they are, when the Bible talks about the strangers in the land that sojourn with them, these are some of them that they're talking about. Only unto the tribe of Levi he gave none inheritance. The sacrifices of the Lord God of Israel made by fire are their inheritances, as he said unto them. So this group is guaranteed to have food. They don't get land, but they get taken care of. They get provided for. So that is their inheritance. And Moses gave unto the tribe of the children of Reuben an inheritance according to their families. A lot, because Reuben's a big tribe. And their coast was from Aurora, that is on the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain of Medeba, Heshbon, and all her cities that are in the plain, Dibon, and Bamothbal, and Bethbalmeon. Bethbalmeon. That's a big word with a lot of vowels in it. And Jehaza, and Kedemoth, and Mephath, and Kirjath-Aim, or Kirjathaim. How do you say that? Kirjathaim. As I said it right. And Sibma, and Zerthashar, in the mountain of the valley, and Beth Peor, and Ashdoth Pishga, and Beth Jeshimoth, and all the cities of the plains, and all the kingdoms of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses smote with the princes of Midian, Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, which were dukes of Sihon, dwelled in the country. Now, this guy Hur over here, that's the one they made that movie about, Ben-Hur. That's his son that they made that movie about. Ben-Hur means son of Hur. Balaam, also the son of Beor, the soothsayer, did the children of Israel slay with the sword among them that were slain by them. Remember that story with Balaam and Beor? That's where Balaam tried to hire a guy to be a mercenary who God then spoke to, and the mercenary said, I don't want no part of this. And then he tried to double up the payments, and he wouldn't have it, and ended up both of them getting killed, but he did God's bidding. And the border of the children of Reuben was Jordan, and the border thereof, this was the inheritance of the children of Reuben after their families, the cities of the villages thereof. So in other words, every tribe, according to the size of their family, got an allotment of land that was appropriate to the size of their family and with room to grow. And they get scattered out across the land of Canaan so that all of them have an inheritance except for the tribe of Levi, whom are the priests of God. They can live anywhere and there's room for them, but they get fed. That's their inheritance. And Moses gave inheritance unto the tribe of Gad, even unto the children of Gad according to their families. And their coast was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and the half the land on the children of Ammon unto Aurora, that is before Rabbah, and from Heshbon unto Ramoth Mizpeh. Try to say that 3 times fast. Betonim, Betonim, I like Betonim better, and Mahanaim under the border of Debir, and in the valley of Bethram, and Beth Nimrah to Succoth and Zephon, the rest of the kingdom of Sihon, king of Heshbon, Jordan and his border, even unto the edge of the sea of Chinnereth on the other side of Jordan eastward. And that's where we're going to stop because I can't keep mispronouncing words. All right. We'll pick up next time, chapter 13, verse 28. I hope that touched your heart. I hope that you found something interesting about it. I hope that it drives you ever closer to the Word of God, to reach out for your Father, to ask for enlightenment, to ask for wisdom. And while you're doing that, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's right in front of you. It really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you do that, please? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to support my work, or if you feel led to send tithes, offerings, or love offerings, or if you just like to pat me on the back and say, hey, nice job, Jake, I get what you're doing, you can do that. You can support my work at paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a CashApp user, $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It helps me keep the lights on around here. And, I need it. So help out if you can. And with that, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support, and I will answer all of your questions and comments. So let's round out this video. Man, hey, April. Long time no see. You don't call, you don't write. I didn't know if you were lying in a ditch somewhere, but I'm glad you're here. All you missed was me mispronouncing a bunch of words. God bless you and have a blessed week. Thank you, a dog named Boo. You do the same. Stick around. If you got any questions about tonight, I'll answer them. Man, short read tonight. Too many big words. Got my tongue all twisted up. Can't keep going when I'm having to slow down and figure out what a word is because, it's written in another language, and I don't speak that language fluently. Thanks for hitting the like button, everyone, says April. Sub share, LOL. No, I had an accident with a broken plate. I just had to get up. Oh, no. Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself? Or you mean you dropped a plate or crashed a car into a truck full of plates? Either way, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're all right. Questions, comments, criticisms, catharses, categories, catalogs, whatever you got, lay it on me. Yep, it shattered the plate. I'm sorry to hear that. I broke a plate the other day. It's funny how life does. I was cleaning it and it fell right out of my hand, hit the floor. Shattered everywhere. I do that, though, from time to time, drop things, because I can't feel my fingers most of the time. So I drop things a lot. Most of it's plastic, though. It happens. I break coffee cups at least once a week. Ugh. Wow. I'm not that clumsy, but at least once a year, maybe. How are you doing? How are things? Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you get something out of tonight's study. It's a little bit of a slog, but it's also very informative, and there's quite a couple of very valid points mentioned tonight. For the uninitiated, that is explaining stuff that happened prior. And those with a good memory will pick up on it. Because it is a big story we're telling. Big one. You know what I didn't do? I did not record this episode. I'm going to have to wait till it uploads and download it. I'm the same way, says April. We have hard tile floors and no carpet. Ugh, I'll rewatch it, love. I'm sorry. That's no problem. I understand. As long as you love me, that's all that matters. I don't think I would like not having carpet. I've only lived in one house that had tile, And I got athlete's foot from the tile. So I don't think I'd like that very much. Of course, the guy who lived there before me was washing a dog on that tile, so that's probably how I got it. Yes, you know it. I do know it. Thank you. And I love you too. So many things to talk about. The show on Friday night on Rumble did real well. Got a lot of views on that video. And it's quite a nice welcome over there. A lot of folks came in that never saw the show before, so that's a good thing. So maybe they'll start watching the videos that are already there and want to see more. And maybe that will drive us to do Wednesday and Friday over there instead of just Friday. But for now, it's just Friday. Just kind of getting our feet wet, getting used to the platform a little, getting used to going over there on a Friday. Eventually, we'll move over there, but it'll take time. They've got to supplant YouTube in order for me to move over there fully, which looks in reach. It looks like they can do so. Just have to wait and see. And a few more things need to happen on the platform for user friendliness. But we're getting there. Yeah, I enjoyed that Friday. Me too. Had a good time. If everything goes to plan, we'll meet back here on Wednesday. I'm still doing rehearsal on Monday. And I got 4 on mine, so it's not 0. That's just an incorrect number. For some reason, they do that. This stupid thing says 0 watching, and my like was the only one. Maybe it's this POS phone. Well, let's see. We got 7 likes and 4 people watching according to mine. So there's probably 10 people watching and probably 7 likes. I don't know why they do that, but they do that. They throttle me every week. That's one of the reasons I'm going over to Rumble. By contrast, I'll tell you why. 30 people, around 30 people will watch this video. Tonight anyway. Since Friday night, 177 people have watched that video. And I'm not from that platform. That was my first full video over there. So, you see what I'm saying? I'm being throttled over here because of my political beliefs and my religious leanings. They don't like that word getting out because it's one of the things I talked about in the beginning of this episode, that everything is nonsense and they are trying desperately to not God this country. Where is everyone tonight? I see a dog named Boo. MSPF Kevin, he's not here now. I don't think. I don't know. I'm starving to death on YouTube, so I've got to do something. That's why I'm moving over to Rumble. I can't make any money over here because they got their thumb on the scales. So there's no way I can grow under those environment. So moving over to Rumble, see how it works over there. By contrast, I've already made a little money on Rumble, like in the pennies, but that's progress. I hadn't done that here. So, Sir Peacock. Fab Daddy's here. Anyway, if all things work according to plan, we will meet here on Wednesday, as I started to say, at 8:30. I got a lot going out this week and not a lot coming in, so I've got to pull off a few harrowing miracle type things to make it work, but it'll work. Has to. It has to. There ain't no stopping this train. It is on the tracks and moving. And by the way, since Rumble is a new platform and we got some new things going on, it's a perfect opportunity to revamp things. So if anybody has any suggestions or anything they'd like to see or anything that they would like to contribute, now is the time, because I'm building that platform as we speak. And anything goes. Ultimately, I'm here to please you. So whatever you like, that's what I want to do, there or here. But this is already pretty much set in stone. That is room to grow. If you have any suggestions or things to contribute, you can send them to my email address, which is on the screen now, and I will answer you. Maybe not right away, but I'll answer you, because I am pretty busy too. All right. I got to go handle some business. Listen to this song, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Hey, there's a Julie Berriman just popped in. How are ya? You made it. Just in time to watch me end. And if you're wondering what's happened to my camera here, I don't know. It's not acting normal. All the switching back and forth between YouTube and Rumble, something got screwed up and now it's very tiny. I have to fix that. April says, Fab Daddy, Lisa Reen, much love. You guys are so talkative tonight. I can't get a word in edgewise. That's all right. I understand. It's a Sunday night. Everybody's wore out. Hugs and stuff to you all. Thank you, April, says Lisa Reen. Sorry, my son called in just a second ago, CJ. There, yay. CJ is here, yay. All right, hey CJ. Fab Daddy says, I sent you an email. I'll get it. Hello, Julie, says Lisa Reen. April says, thanks, Lisa Reen. Always a pleasure seeing you here. You guys are so nice. Thank you for being so nice. It brightens my whole day. Very lovely. Makes me have hope in humanity, which I have very little of these days. There's a lot of bad going on in the world, and it tends to make people have a bad taste in their mouth that are looking for good. But don't let that discourage you, because good does exist, because evil is dumb. And the way you know good exists is because if evil exists, good exists. And there's plenty of evil to watch. So just don't involve yourself in any of it and you'll be fine. Keep your head down and your nose to the grindstone until you see the bright light. And then look up. and you will see something amazing. I promise. Give you my word on it. April says, okay. I try to be so good that it's bad. Is that kind of like hurt so good? I don't try to be good. I just try to be alive, be present. I already know I'm not good, so that's the beautiful thing about Christianity. There's forgiveness and grace. And those things no other religion has. Trust me on that one. That's how you know it's real. And even though I don't subscribe to a lot of the religious aspects of religiosity, it's because I tend to think that if you put yourself in a house, it stands to have the potential of becoming divided, and a divided house cannot stand. So I try to stay outside the house. However, there's something to be said for it. It is the thing that created this great civilization that we once had and will have again. It's by far the best that we've ever tried as a people. April says, Fab Daddy, you make me happy every time I see you. Who loves you, baby? Fab Daddy do. He is fabulous, after all. And apparently a daddy. You can take that one of two ways. He is from San Francisco, so I would take it the latter way, but, you know. April says, yes, and in attitudes, I'm trying hard not to be negative. Yes, negativity is a bad thing. It's a bad rabbit hole, and if you go down it, you're liable to not come out of it. Not San Francisco? I thought you told me you were in San Francisco. Must have been the other guy. Good show, says ATL. Thank you, sir. Good show to you, too. One of the 12 spies are interesting. No, he's with Devin. I get to see him tomorrow and throughout the week. That's awesome. That's where our federal district court presides, says Fab Daddy. Okay. Oh, Jake, my pleasure. You're welcome, sweetheart. I don't know what pleasure you're talking about, but I'm with you. I think that's a previous statement. I just can't remember. Joshua is a spy story. How is that? I would think that what preceded Joshua was a spy story. Joshua is a general story. The two men that were sent into Canaan to spy were not Joshua. I feel you, Jake, says Lisa Reen, but there are still lovely people around. Thank God. That's true. There are. And you have to seek those people out because they're not on every corner. ATL says, I don't know. I don't know either. He was the CIA for God? Fab Daddy says, currently I am a 3-hour drive northeast of San Francisco, depending on traffic. So, San Francisco then, I'm currently an hour and a half from Raleigh, North Carolina, but still North Carolina. ATL says, I'm sorry, Fab Daddy. Amen, Lisa Reen, says April. Yeah, there are good people here. And they're worth knowing. And they're worth building a community with. Because that's the thing we're missing these days, is the community aspect. You see, when they got rid of churches, and by that I don't mean they outlawed them or anything, I just mean that the attendance of churches have drastically dropped over the past 20 years to the point of fear. You know, they're getting scared. But when you did that as a country, what you've done is destroyed the fellowship of people. You destroyed a pristine place where people could go and not be negative and not be bad and think about something higher than themselves for a little while, even an hour a week. That's more than you're doing currently. You in the general sense, not you personally. So that's a bad thing. We need that back because that's what civilization is tempered by. If you don't have a period of your life that you're thinking of something higher than yourself, then all you're thinking about is yourself. And that makes people do the things that they're doing today. Completely hedonistic, completely self-absorbed, completely antithetical to human nature, which is what's going on. You need that back. So this is important. It's very important. It's more important than anything I've ever done before, except for maybe fathering my children. It's a close second to that. I go to my wife's church and my temple, says ATL. Good. Where is everyone from in our chat? April says. ATL's from Georgia. Fab Daddy's from California. Lisa Reen's in Kansas. Julie's San Francisco could not be more different than where Fab or I live. Less than 2-hour drive from there myself. Cool. April's in Florida. I'm in North Carolina. Yeah, that's a good thing, Julie. I'm hearing some bad stuff coming out of San Francisco in that area. So I'm glad you're in a nicer place. I was just ribbing Fab Daddy. He knows that. Cool, thanks. Now that I know, we are definitely family. Wowie awesomeness. San Francisco is turning bad. Yeah, it is. Or is bad. Probably always was bad. I mean, think about what Hollywood land is. Holly is a tree from which they make magic wands and other mystical objects. It's the reason they planted them there in the first place. It's the reason they chose the location. And think about what goes on in Hollywood land, which I know is not San Francisco, but isn't far from it by comparison. That whole area has an ulterior motive. City life is not swagger. True. Though I wouldn't know. I've never lived in a city. My swagger. City life is not my swagger. I got you. I have never lived in a city. I've lived city adjacent, but I've never lived in a city. Most of my life, I've been out in the country, and I'm the better for it, I think. City life has a way of turning people into lunatics. Self-absorbed, self-centered lunatics. April says, I agree, Fab Daddy. I've lived in small cities, like Lakeland, Florida, which is bigger than it was when I lived there. And Fab Daddy says, I'd rather live in the mountains. Me too. Cowboys 8-panel. It's worse here now. Public dumping biohazards and public officials don't do their jobs. I hear you. Welcome to the show. I don't believe we've met before. ATL says, if you are in the correct community in a city, it is good. I see that. I see how that could be. I grew up in a very strict Catholic and Jewish Orthodox community. Thanks and hello, says Cowboys. Did you catch the previous part of this video, or are you just now joining us? And if not, I encourage you to go back and check it out. In the Bronx. Well, the Bronx is not a terrible place. It's a little rough. But back in the old days, that was the bustling area where people got things done. April says, yes, ATL, we live in the city, but not crowded in. We live on a dead-end road. As long as you don't live at the end of that dead-end road, I suppose you're okay. And hopefully it's not a one-way dead-end road. That would be the epitome of misery. Hi, Cowboy. Welcome, says April. Welcome, welcome. I'm here to answer your questions. Or, entertain you. And I have no problem making a jackass of myself for your entertainment. Just so you know. Hi, April, says Cowboy. Cowboy's 8-panel. I live in a city of 25,000 and the most rednecks in California, says Fab Daddy. That's great. So you live in Orange County then? Because that's where the most rednecks are in California, as far as I know. Cowboy's 8-panel says I'm an older woman. Okay, no problem there. Butte County. I used to own a silver mine in Butte, but I think it was somewhere else. I don't think it was it was Butte, California. I think that's a different place. No. Yes, Butte, California. Named after the people who owned the silver mine. April says, how are you, Cowboys? Are you from Dallas? LOL. Ha ha ha. Cowboy said, I had to leave Orange County. Oh, no. Tell us what happened. We have the smallest mountain range in the world, says Fab Daddy. That's cool. April says, we're just asking where we're all from, LOL. I'm gathering California. Is the place you ought to be if you load up your truck and move to Beverly. Other than that, I'd move to Texas. No football, just flowers and gardens have been dumped on. Yeah, there's some unusual policies in California. From a Southerner's perspective, seems kind of counterintuitive. New Yorkers are here now. Yep. All trying to be famous, probably. If it were me, I'd move to Austin, which is California light, but not nearly as corrupted. Bingo, says Cowboys 8-panel. Yep, all trying to get famous. And very few of them ever will, which means they'll become a blight on society just like the rest of the people that never made it to be famous. And then you'll have another San Francisco on your hands. There's a lot of States of Jefferson flag in my community. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, that was almost the name of a state. But I think it was Virginia or West Virginia. I may be wrong about that. But I do remember reading something about that. Part of the country, someplace, wanted to be the state of Jefferson. And the rest of the world didn't want that. So the unions took over. But it seemed like for a little while they had their own money and everything. Somebody educate me. I'm just remembering something I read a long time ago. Now, we don't live at the end of that one-way street. It's dead end. That's right. The U.S. Northern California people wanted to start a new state. Probably because they saw what Gavin Newsom was doing to the rest of it. See what I did there? I'd want to start a new state, too. Here's the problem with secession, though. All of the military bases in California belong to the United States government. So if you succeeded, or seceded, you would be your own country full of another invading army that already won. Because you hadn't put an army together. That's why states don't secede. Very smart, that military. They got it all figured out. Not to our betterment, but they got it all figured out. I did see some positive things happening today. I read about or watched a video about a new group of doctors that are getting together to oppose the World Health Organization. That's a positive step in the right direction, I think. Cowboy said it was so sad when I went back and saw how bad Southern California had become. Lisa Reen said, I lived in California and in Florida back in the 80s, but always came back home to Kansas, where I grew up. Big city grind on my nerves. Me too. Oh, Jefferson wouldn't leave the Union. It would have different laws. Yep. Heard that, Lisa Reen. I know, says April. Yeah, I've never been one for big cities. I've been in like Atlanta and Augusta, which are small cities, but cities with a skyline. And I didn't like it. The only thing I liked about it is that you could order a pizza at 4 o'clock in the morning. I did like that. I felt like I didn't have to sleep on the rest of the world's schedule in those places. Other than that, I didn't like how dirty it was. I didn't like how grimy it was or how unsafe it was. I didn't like the fact that I had to carry a pistol. I like carrying a pistol, but I don't like having to carry a pistol. I like doing it because I want to, not because I have to. So, that's just my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Because I believe in one of those amendments. The one that protects the First Amendment. Does that make me a bad guy? I don't think so. I preach the word of God. How bad could it be? I mean, not in the Joel Osteen sense or the Kenneth Copeland sense. More like in the Arnold Murray sense. April says, I sub to you, cowboys. That's sweet, April. Thank you for supporting the people that come in. Fab Daddy says, I like the city, but I really like leaving it more. You like the way it looks in your rearview mirror. There you go, April. You got it. Be sure to check us out on rumble.com/UntetheredLive if you guys get a chance to and have not done so already. We're building a beautiful thing over there, and it's free speech, which means if you think I'm crazy and racy over here, go over there and see what I talk about. I'm liable to talk about the flat earth. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, YouTube. Don't censor me. There you go. If anybody wants to sub, says April. That is Cowboys 8 panel and her YouTube channel. At night, driving away is nice. Yes, it is. Looking out over the top of it's nice, too. That's as close as I care to get to a city. One place you will never see Jake Johnson, and that is in the heart of New York City. I will never go there. I have no desire to go there. There's nothing there that interests me whatsoever. I'm happy living in my little hole in the ground right here in Greene County, North Carolina. Did you hear about I-95 bridge in Philadelphia being burned down? No, I did not. What's that all about? That can't be good for traffic. How do you burn a bridge down that's made out of concrete? See, her hearts don't have herpes, April. I actually understand that. She's starstruck by the love she feels by looking at a rose like me. I think I understood that correctly. A truck with 8,500 gallons of gasoline caught on fire. Oh, that would do it. Underneath it. I'd probably do it. That doesn't sound like a false flag at all. I mean, every day trucks full of gasoline are parking under bridges, which usually has a road under it where other traffic goes, and catching on fire. No one can oppose the World Health Organization more than me. Surely no doctors. Well, there's a group of them, Lisa, that are. Do you know who Jimmy Dore is? Subscribe to Jimmy Dore's channel and go look at his recent videos. And there's one of them about 3 videos in, little short videos that he does that talks about it. Jimmy Dore. He's a crazy left-wing guy, but he's got some sense. He's one of the few left. April says, I mean, I didn't see that. Wow. Or vaporized. Yep. I hope they have security guards. I hope so, too. Thanks, Jake. We love you. I love you, too, April. Thank you. And there's your smiley face with the herpes. I like it. That's what it looks like from here, anyway. That means that smiley face gets around, if you know what I'm saying. Look at the other smiley face. You can almost tell what happened there. I love you too, honey. And thank you for being here. And thank you for all your support and help and all your moderating. You mean a lot to me. And together, we'll take over the world. Or at least this part of it. So anyway, tomorrow night I will be at rehearsal, so I won't be able to be here. It's usually a Sunday, Monday thing that I do for Bible study, but for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be Sunday because I got rehearsal on Monday and I just ain't enough of me to go around. But I will be back on Wednesday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise and I can pay my internet bill. And we'll continue from there. But Wednesday and Friday, we just hang out, Cowboy. So if you want to come by on Wednesday, it's 8:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 8 on Sunday. That's when I'm live, but you can watch the videos at any time after the fact, because they'll always be on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify and iTunes and Google and Amazon and anywhere else you can find it. Sometimes we play guitar, sometimes we do debunking videos, sometimes we delve into strange and horrific things. Sometimes we just talk. It's always nice. Always nice. I always have a good crowd. So please do come back and join us and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already so you'll know when I come online. That's horrific. Winky face with a tear. Later, everyone. Later, Fab Daddy. Thank you for coming by. We love you. See you next time. Okay, Rumble it is. Rumble on Friday. Every other day is here. Eventually, it'll be every day on Rumble, but right now. But all of my previous videos are on Rumble, so if you want to go to Rumble, you can. Or if you want to go here. But I'll only be live on Rumble on Fridays. Live Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday here. I subbed a while ago. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you did. How come it's taking you so long for me to meet you? Just busy. But I'm glad you're here. And I can't wait to get to know you. Everybody else we kind of know. Have you been watching that long? You just decided to talk tonight? MVTV, what's up, buddy? I snub all the time. Wait, what? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Lovely of you to drop by. I have to clean all that muck. Busy. I hear you. What muck? What do you do? April says, yes, Cowboys, Rumble, will share, Jake, link, okay. Will share, Jake, link, okay. Much love, everyone. Are you leaving us? You just got here and you're leaving already? New York dumpers. Okay. Is that like a trash truck kind of thing or like a garbage facility kind of thing? MVTV says, busy chore time as it's the last hour of daylight, but dragging in late. Taking a break from the skeeters. April says, smiley face with herpes. Aha. You got it. I love it. That's herpes simplex 10 for the uninitiated. I hate that voice. I never want to do that again. Oh, house clean out was illegally dumped in my yard. Oh, my God. That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. MVTV says, I used to work at 2 county landfills doing nothing but collecting up loose paper blown into fences. That was weird, but quiet, and nobody bothered me. It's not that weird. Somebody's got to do it, right? That's right, says April. Together we can put our thumbs in somebody's mouth to create peace while we're running into love and playing patty cake with more love, I think. MVTV says, that sucks, Cowboy. I bet you'd so like to have the offenders pick it up with a hand on their neck. Careful, that's Texas talk there. Don't let the skeeters get you again, hun, says April. I have a guy in my band that is a bug man, so about once a month he sprays my yard. That's quite nice of him. And it keeps the skeeters and critters down, because I live in the country, next to water. Not big water, but I got a pond in my backyard. They have a wolf pack and ATV club also, says Cowboy. Wow. Well, what you need to do is take a lesson from a Georgia boy and get you a double-barrel shotgun and a rocking chair. Put that rocking chair on your front porch and sit out there with that gun in your lap. And when somebody comes into your yard, fire off a round in their general vicinity and put a stop to it. April says, thanks for coming in, Cowboys. It's nice to meet you. Please come on back if you ever want to try again. So I done told you once, I'm the best there's ever been. No, I thought you were. You thought I were what? Leaving? I'm not leaving. Are you kidding me? MVTV's here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm on the edge of my seat. I once caught two boys egging my lady friend's house. Her daughter was really the target, but so funny to show up behind them. Yes, they cleaned it up. Thanked them, gave them $1, but paying next time. Gotcha. I promised paying next time. April says, that's all right, Cowboys. Love it, haha. I need to learn this hieroglyphic language that you speak. Just kids. Yeah, I understand that. They're just kids. You can't really shoot at them. But there's adults that know better. And I'm from Georgia, and apparently we have a complex in Georgia. And apparently we like shooting at people, according to, popular science. We like it. Lisa Reen says, MVTV, neighbors like you are good to have. A good neighbor is a neighbor you don't recognize. That's how I feel about it. I have neighbors that I've had for 20 years, and they have no idea what I look like. And I'm not sure what they look like. And that's the way I like it. MBTV says, once my uncle's farm, my brother and I busted out all the windows on a, we thought, unused chicken coop. Boy, we got in trouble. Best recall was when they asked why and realized how dumb it was. Yep. April says, OMG, MVTV, you've been busy. MVTV says, thanks, Lisa Reen. Only a couple widely spaced ranches in this valley. I know the nearest buckshot very well, but only waved at the others down the road. I hear you. Well, mine are right there. Like, I got a 2-acre yard, so that's how far their house is from me. About, I don't know, 50 feet, 60 feet, something like that on that side. I'm on this side of my yard, so most of the yard's that way. But there's a row of trees between me and them that are thick enough that I don't have to see them. And I got barns and stuff lined up and trees strategically planted so that no matter where I'm at in the yard, my eye line is covered with green. So I'm basically boxed in by trees. MVTV says, but this winter, I got stuck in my access road field. No big deal, but Buckshot shows up with a plow, 5 Wranglers, and a huge pickup truck, without calling for help. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. No, that's the downside to what I'm talking about. Because if I have a problem, I have to deal with it by myself. If I'm stranded, I have to get my way out of it. But the drama that saves over time pays dividends. For me personally, I am a misanthrope after all. Antisocial misanthrope. I don't mean to be. That's just the way I am. I do good with people. I don't do good with people. You know what I'm saying? I spent my whole life on a stage, so I've learned how to communicate with a group of people. I don't do well one-on-one. Buckshot's Ranch light is visible 3 miles down, but have to walk a quarter mile out on the road to see it. The others, too far. I am loving this. That's how it was when I was a kid. You had to walk 3 or 4 miles to see the nearest house. Ain't that way anymore, though. Same with noise. I've been cursed with barking dogs, lawnmowers, chainsaws, etc. Now, I wake up at night wondering what the noise was, and only the refrigerator is turning on. April says, yes, absolutely, Jake. Sometimes you got to play the hand you're dealt. And I was dealt the curmudgeonly misanthropic hand, so I have to play that one. And I play it well. April says, that's funny, MVTV. It's also quiet. Very nice. I remember those nights when the only sound you could hear was a box fan, because that's the only sound that was there. No outside people, no neighbors, no cars driving by. I remember those nights. MVTV says also, the Custer National Forest starts 80 yards past my access, so no development. The other ranches occupy private land in the middle of the river valley. I saw on a map where you're at. You are in the boondocks, way out there. I can't remember why I saw it, but I remember seeing it. I think maybe I was looking when you were snowed in. I can't remember. Maybe you showed it to me. I can't remember. Maybe I just looked it up on Google Earth. Either way, I saw it. You're way out there. I don't know what my hometown looks like now, but when I was a kid, all you would seen if you looked at it on Google Maps was green. It looks like a swamp because that's what it is. You wouldn't even be able to see the road for the trees. That's where I came from. Of course, they didn't have Google Earth back then. They didn't even have Earth back then. They just had Panther Branch. That's where I was from. Look it up. That you'll find that just south of Sandersville, Georgia. Yeah, 10-mile road southeast of Ashland, right next to the NF border. A little comma lake is obvious. I'm just to the right of that. Montana Cadastrel. Montana Cadastrel will show it, but the address sometimes doesn't match. Yeah. I forget why I looked at it, but I looked at it. And I know I said that word wrong, but I can barely see it, so it's my defense, and I'm sticking to it. I like the fact that you're right next to Custer National Forest, though. That's pretty interesting. April says, yes, I know what you're saying, love. On a roll. Patience, please. I knew I'd like this when my address didn't show on some state database and I had to use coordinates for something. Yeah, that's remote. I can't say mine's that remote, but it's pretty remote. Or it was when I was a kid. I'm sure it's grown up now. I hadn't been back there in 20 years, so. I think there's a highway out there now that wasn't there when I grew up there. Like a 4-lane or something going between Sandersville and Macon or Milledgeville. That's the area I'm from. Lots of kaolin and red clay. Kaolin, in case you don't know what that is the stuff they make Tums out of and chalk. And white powdery substance. And the stuff you rub on your hands when you're playing pool, that's kaolin. A cadastrel is a log of property. Got it. Montana cadastrel is easy to find, like Google Maps, and will show topographicals, satellite, and property lines, and owners, and the whole shebang. Gotcha. Interesting. So it's a map with depth. Got it. You don't need any of that to see my house. All you got to do is type my address in Google Earth and it'll show you my front yard. Although you only see the tops of my barns because my yard's covered in trees, but that's distressing, to say the least. You're supposed to know where MVTV is in case he needs help. I do know where he is. I could drive right to his house right now. It'd be a while, but I'd get there. They call the red rock here clinker because it will ring if struck. Sedimentary, baked by the heat, and the hills have the Badlands colored layering. Yes, they call that shale here. It's the same thing. It's like sun-roasted clay. Very brittle, and it makes a sound when you play it or strike it. And there are musical instruments that are made out of it. But more specifically, I think people make like wind chimes and stuff out of it. You can also use that stuff for roof tiles. Yeah, April, just saw a movie when they had to use the internet to call for help. I think of that. But if to point you's noticed, it may be too late, but appreciated. Well, if you need help, reach out. One of us will come for you. I promise you that. Very heavy clay matrix, but mostly those rock layers. If it was Georgia clay, etc., you deal with it. Forget about it. Oh, yeah. You ever tried digging a ditch in Georgia clay? I have. And let me tell you what, I've never worked so hard in my life. Help. Bring tobacco and frosted flakes. I hear you, brother. I'll send you some if you need it. I can do that. You just got to let me know. And I'll pack up a package tonight. It ain't beside me, but I happen to have some. No Frosted Flakes. I can go get some, though. Frosted Flakes. Now I want cereal. Thanks a lot. How dare you bring up Frosted Flakes at a time like this? I thought I was smart, says MBTV, but making a clay fertilizer addition for some garden spots and think it made an iron-hard layer some plants couldn't punch through. Yeah. I've never known that to be the case, but I could imagine why it would be. Like I said, I've dug a ditch through Georgia clay, and I was using a pickaxe, bringing it up one clump at a time with every strike. It's like hitting concrete. Yes, we'd get there, love, for sure, says April. Yep, you don't know us. We mean that. Been doing it for years. But that ain't no fun to dig in Georgia clay. I think it took about 25 men a full day to get 4 feet into the ground on a ditch that was just wide enough to stand in and about 20 feet long. MVTV says only 7 of a dozen sweet corn came up. Unacceptable. So refine the technique with different planted times. I have 34 corn during great total of 95 in the ground with yesterday. Room for 200 more. Well, you just keep trying, buddy. I'm sure you'll make it, and you'll be growing corn so much so you won't know what to do with it all. I will expect a tithe of at least a half a bushel. I think that's awesome that you're becoming a farmer. I think there's wisdom and knowledge to be gained from that activity. Even if it's not necessary anymore, it's worth knowing how to do. I hunt once a year, whether I need to or not. Why? Because it's a skill set. Not only hunting, but preparing and butchering and storing are also skills that are necessary in the apocalypse. So it's good to know those things. Also, go out and teach yourself how to build a fire if you don't already know. And I don't mean with a Bic. Winter squash, lettuce, cabbage, all exploding. Same with several pumpkins, 25 sunflowers, cantaloupes, and sold my debut rhubarb to the Merc, thus making the empty definition of a farm. Yes, which means you can now apply for a grant. That'd be lovely. Oh, bush cherries galore already bloomed. And 5 apple trees, only 3 produced, though. New trees. I used to have a pear tree in my yard which disappeared. The tree is still there, but it don't produce pears anymore. It's weird. I used to step on them all the time. I remember that vividly. I guess a pear tree just stops producing at some point. But I've got raspberries over there in that part of the yard. And some orange thing that looks like if you eat it, it'll kill you. And then a old pear tree. Sounds glorious, MVTV, says Lisa Reen. It does, doesn't it? April says, yeah, it does sound good. MVTV says, yep. All kinds of benefits to the legal definition. Not least of it preening on YouTube without giving evidence of these so-called crops. Nah, they exist. I don't need evidence. I trust you. I trust you and I'm proud of you. Keep doing it. I worried about cats getting rabbits, but counted 6 at one time. Must be dozens out there. Yes, the garden is fenced. Good. I just found a cat today that's pregnant, so I've got more kittens coming. All I know is I probably need to shoot that tomcat that's around here, because he's getting all of them. I already got a litter of young cats that just showed up, that just got weaned, and now a new litter is coming, which will be here in a couple months. Weather and pollination issues can keep a tree from producing fruit. That may be what it is. I don't know. All I know is I remember I used to step on pears every day when I walked out in the yard, and now they're not there anymore. So I miss having fruit trees, says Julie. They're lovely to have, especially if you go outside and pick an orange or something. I probably need to plant some fruit trees around here. That'd be a smart move. I might do that. Thanks for the idea. Put me a row of orange trees right out there in my front yard. Yeah, Julie. I got here late. They needed more watering than was possible by landlord, and suspect few even bloomed, says MVTV. Yeah, but there's always next year, and you'll have your techniques perfected by then, so you'll be able to plant that crop and blow through it. I used to live on an old orange grove, so did I, in Florida. In fact, my first job was picking oranges. I was about 10 years old, 9 or 10. April says, Ginger Billy dug that clay well with his tractor, LOL. You got to watch that. It's hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about. Is Ginger Billy the name of a movie? Making a swimming pool, haha. MVTV says, I was careful to watch for bees and relieved to see 2, maybe 3 species, including hunter's bumblebees, which is huge with red stripes. That's terrifying. April says, we grew up around orange groves, all in frostproof. Yep. I remember. I think frostproof was where I was at when I got my first job. Floodville, wherever that's at. That was the name of the place I was at, Floodville. I think that's near Frostproof. I think it's in between Frostproof and Juanita. Correct me if I'm wrong. You would know. As I was just a little boy when I lived there. However, my friend in Helena, Jake, I said Helena, reported with distress 0 bees seen on her lilacs when they're usually crowded. That was 2 weeks ago. Unknown if they've shown up yet. Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty scary. What's Frostproof, a place? Yes, Frostproof is a little town in Florida full of orange groves. And Floodville is somewhere around there that I used to live. Also lived in Juanita, which is like a Mexican trailer park, pretty much. Oh, yeah, I did that on Helena because last time you insisted on the other pronunciation because you liked it better. Well, now you're starting to get the method behind my madness. Sometimes I'm just pushing the madness along. I'm not married to anything. It's just entertainment, man. If it comes out that way, I'm going to stick to it. April says, yeah, a small town in Florida I grew up in, Frostproof. Which, ironically, neither frosts nor is frostproof. I used to live on simmering volcano, but it didn't end well. I would make fun of your town names, but are worse here. We have an actual Palookaville. Oh, we have an Itchituckney and a Swanee River. And, I can't think of any Florida names. Give me one, April. You know the ones. It's really a Blackfeet hunting camp, but shows on some maps. We have some weird names in Florida. I just can't think of any right off the top of my head. They're weird for us, too. It's not you. Only thing I can think of is Kissimmee, but that's not it. It's spelled Kissimmee. LOL MBTV, that's it. That's funny, says April. Give me one of those Florida names that sound so weird, like Chattahoochee. No, I can't think of a single one. I used to know a lot of them. I can't think of one now. Palookaville don't sound that bad. At least it has a ville at the end of it. Some of the names in Florida, you're like, what were they smoking? Can't even pronounce that. I lived in a town once that was spelled Alachua, Alatchua, Alachua. And everybody there called it Latchway. Latchway. This is Florida. That's all I can tell you. This week on Meth Up Gator. Down, down. That's a comedian. He's coming to Naples June 23rd and 24th. We're going to see him. Yay. What's a comedian coming to Florida and Naples? MVTV says there's a 2-dot sweetgrass tobacco, top deep, whatever the hell that is, and Sonnet, a dinky town on the way to groceries in Broadus, has or had an infamous sign. Interesting. I know what a 2-dot is and a sweetgrass tobacco. Or sweetgrass and tobacco. Population 1. Ornery bastard or something close. I'm going to risk the ranch road that goes way down through NF on Grocery Run. What does NF stand for? I should probably know that, but I can't think of anything. National Forest. Gotcha. I did know that. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. I said it earlier. My brain is frazzled, folks. Too much study and not enough sunlight. All right. It is 10:20. I got to go to bed and get up early in the morning and try to dig myself out of debt. I love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for keeping the chat popping and being so interesting and having so many great ideas and thoughts. And welcome new people. I hope that you bring your friends and make a thing out of it because we're going for it. There was Sunny Babson Park, Lake Wales, Avon Park, Sebring. Those aren't the names I'm talking about, and you know it. I'm talking about like Alapalooza and stuff like that. I just can't think of one. Good night and safe travel, safe journeys. Thank you, MVTV, and you do the same. Julie, good night to you. April, I love you. Groveland. Those aren't weird names. Those are obvious names. I'm talking about the weird ones. Like Kakalaki. The Indian names. Avon Park ain't one of them. All right. Have a great night. I love you guys. Doodlewink, East Butt Creek, and Fort Hangnail. Those are good. Yeah, I like Fort Hangnail. Yowie. I see it now. The reason behind that name. Butt Creek Butte. Butte, Montana. All right, guys. I got to go. Thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed every minute of it. I hope you got something out of it. God bless you all. God keep you all. May all of your prayers and needs be fulfilled and come true. Have a great night. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for watching.